April of 2026 is not a subtle month. This is one of those months where the energy doesn't whisper to us, it's screaming at us and it's revealing to us. And when I say it reveals, it means that things you weren't trying to see, whether that's people's true intentions, maybe your own truth about what is and what isn't working, it all starts coming to the surface. Now, this aligns with the deeper collective theme we're moving through this entire year, which is this slow dismantling of illusions so we can actually see things for what they really are. And April is a turning point in that process. We start the month out with the full moon in Libra. That's on April 1st. Right out of the gate, we're dealing with truth in relationships, balance, reciprocity, and emotional honesty. Libra wants harmony, but full moons, they don't like to give comfort, as you know, but they do give clarity. So something becomes visible pretty much immediately where things are balanced and where things are not balanced. That's the Libra way, right? Then on April 9th, Mars enters into Aries, and this is a major ignition point. Hasn't been there for 2 years, and Mars in Aries is just raw motivation. It's truth, it's instinct, it's action. But in this context, it's not about just moving forward, it's about reclaiming yourself. This can feel like impatience, building, frustration. Things are surfacing, or you suddenly realize where you've been holding yourself back just to keep the peace. Mars in Aries says, I can't ignore this anymore. Then on April 15th, we've got Mercury, the planet of the mind, moving into Aries as well. Now the story shifts from feeling to speaking. This is where truth becomes verbal. You may notice conversations speeding up, honesty increasing, and people saying what they actually think instead of what they think they should say. And for many people, this is where clarity lands fast. Sometimes it can be a little bit abrupt because Mercury in Aries doesn't really filter things out, but it does filter for truth. Then we hit a major reset point, and that's going to be April 17th when we have that new moon in Aries. This is one of the most important moments of the month. New moons are beginnings, but in Aries, this is the first one of the astrological new year, so it's about identity rebirth and it's about new energy. This is where something new is trying to be born in your life and in you, but it can only emerge if something old is released. So this new moon is not gentle. It's a reset of identity, direction, motivation, and self-definition. This is where the question becomes, who am I now? That I can't unsee what I've seen. That's a big part of it. Then on the 20th, the sun moves into Taurus, and the entire tone, it shifts. Aries builds ignition, right? And Taurus body is all about embodiment. So after all that truth gets puked out at us and the intensity is there and that internal reorientation, it's a little bit fiery, but I tell you what, Taurus helps us to ground. This is where life starts asking us, okay, but what are you actually building here? That's what it's asking in Taurus. Not what you feel, not what you hope, but what real tangible steps are you taking to build something sustainable? Then on the 24th, Venus enters Gemini. Relationships and values become more mental, more communicative, more curious. This is where conversations open up again, but differently this time. There's more questioning, there's more dialogue, there's more exploration, but also a need to be honest about inconsistencies because Gemini energy doesn't hide from the truth, it multiplies it and it brings it to light. And then we arrive at the biggest shift of them all on April 26th. Uranus moves into Gemini where it has not been for 84 years. Now, it did dip its toes in there briefly in July of 2025 until November. So it gave us a bit of a preview on what the planet of disruption is going to do as it moves into the sign of communication, how the world communicates with one another, how systems move. This really truly is a generational turning point for us all. Uranus is disruption, it's awakening, it's innovation, and it's sudden change. And Gemini rules that communication area, information, technology, and our perception. So this is where the collective mind starts to shift. How we think, how we communicate, how we process the truth, and a lot about how we connect. It changes. It all begins to evolve, and it does it rapidly. This isn't a small transit. This is the beginning of a completely new era. So when you zoom out, April 2026 is not just a month of events, it's a progression. Truth is revealed under that full moon. Action is ignited when Mars moves into Aries. Speech becomes honest when Mercury moves into Aries. Identity resets at that new moon. Reality grounds as the sun moves into Taurus. And relationships open dialogue when Venus and Gemini occurs. And I think the biggest one of all, of course, perception itself. It evolves as Uranus moves in that 84-year transit into Gemini. And then the deeper message underneath all of this is that you can't continue into what's next while ignoring what's already been revealed. So if something is shifting in your life right now, internally, externally, don't rush to stabilize it too quickly, okay? Let it show you what it's trying to show you, because April is not just change, it's clarity that changes everything. If you want to see how April affects your sun sign, check out my shorts on my page here. I've got a 1-minute horoscope for each of the signs. It's probably more like 2 minutes for each of the signs, but it'll give you a good insight on how April is going to be impacting your sign. So be sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising. We'll see you next time.